Hello and welcome to Awaz-The Voice. I am Yasmeen Khan. In today's special interview, we have been joined by a famous personality. Today with us, we have the director of IIT Delhi, Professor Rangan Banerjee. Sir has been kind enough to spare some time for the interview. Thank you so much sir, for your cooperation. Sir, I would like to start with the technology. There is a lot happening in the field. I mean, there are revolutionary changes going around. Like we have the advancement in AI, we have Internet of Things, we have robotics. And how do you see this growth, and how is it going to impact the engineering?
So AI, ML, many other new changes which are there, all of this technology impacts the way in which engineering is being done. So all of this gives us a whole set of new tools and techniques that we can. Many of the routine things that we are doing can get done better by artificial intelligence. But we need to understand and we need to use many of these tools and techniques so that we can solve the problems which are facing humanity. Even today, we have problems of poverty, we have problems of healthcare, we are looking at climate. All of this needs our youth to focus, to get all the new tools and techniques, understand the problems, and find engineering solutions. So the way in which engineering will be done will be transformed by many of these new technologies.
So we talked about AI, we talked about Internet of Things. So if we talk about the development, how can India prepare itself for all these new things that are coming?
So we prepare for these new things firstly by revamping the way in which we are educating our future generation. So at IIT Delhi, in all of these areas, we have specialized courses, we have programs, we have research programs. We also do a lot of learning by doing. So that we now recently started a master's program in robotics. We have a program in cyber security. So training the people, working together in groups to make programs, creating state of the art resources and laboratories. These are the ways in which we prepare. And then we need to see how we apply these to the problems that we have. Contextualize it. Look at our problems, look at our things, and then see how to do it.
Okay. So, in the recently held G20 summit, how do you see the role of science and technology emerging, and also how do you see the role of Indian engineers?
So I think one of the things that we have seen in G20 is that India is recognized and has the potential to play a leadership role. Also, in many of the declarations, in the themes which are there, they focus on science and technology and using science and technology for development and for solving the problems of humanity, coming together for this. This is where Indian engineers, Indian scientists need to work together and do that. And I think the recognition that we are in a world where different contexts are there, but we can share experiences, we can work together. That is brought out very clearly in G20.
Yes, even in G20, like Prime Minister Modi, he talked about the biofuels. So how can some technology help us in reduction of the conventional fuels, and how can we make advancement in climate change?
So Jasmine, what happens is biofuels in India, across the country, we have different types of biomasses. And many of these can be used in a modern way. Biomass we've been using many cases traditionally. We also have many technologies indigenously developed. We have indigenous biomass gasifiers, right? Where you can convert the biomass, you can generate power, you can use it for industry. All of this can be done in a way where we can make it cost effective and it can solve the country's problems. It can also, biofuels, if they are done properly, can be actually carbon neutral. So when we look at going away from fossil, we can have biofuels to fuel our vehicles, we can have biofuels to give electricity, but in all of this, there is a lot to be done. We need to create the technology, we need to get the industry, manufacture it, and India, along with many other countries, can actually get together and provide a leadership in these biofuels.
Okay, sir. My question related to climate. If we talk about climate, like there's a lot India is doing, even on the global level, like we have been talking about climate change, the advancements that have been done. So if we talk about electrical vehicles, what are the advancements or what are the areas India needs to focus on in terms of electrical
So
vehicles?
in electric vehicles, we actually at IIT Delhi have an electric vehicle, state-of-the-art electric vehicle research facility and a laboratory. We have a master's program in electric mobility, and now the whole most of our vehicles were IC engine vehicles, all going from fossil fuels. Typically, we were looking at oil. Now we have moved from oil to CNG, and now we are moving to electric vehicles. So all the new vehicles which we are thinking of, so we have to have work in the area of batteries. We have to look at the control and of the battery management system, the electric charging infrastructure. We are working on all of this, and electric vehicles by itself will not be the solution to the climate problem, because that will depend on making our electric grid carbon neutral. That means we are doing that already. We are going to solar photovoltaic, to the wind. And so if the electricity that we generate is not from fossil, and then we do this, but electric vehicles also solves another problem, which is if you look at the air quality problem. Now, all of us who are in the NCR region, many times in during winter we have such bad air days, and some of it is caused because of vehicular pollution. So if you have electric vehicles, then what happens is that with the mobile source there is no pollution. The pollution is transferred to the power plant, and if that power plant is from biomass, or it is from wind, or it was from PV, then we have also solved the local pollution problem and the climate change problem. That is why electric vehicles is potentially a game changer. The percentage of electric vehicles is small, but it's growing, and this is an area where we can have cost-effective solutions. We have one young startup, Tadpole Engineering, which is a young group. They came up with this thing that vehicles at their end of life, the existing vehicles, they are converting them into electric vehicles, and they have many takers for that. So they are changing the engine and putting an electric vehicle, and it's an interesting kind of startup. So young people can find many solutions in all of these spaces.
Sir, we have a lot of IITs in India. We have many engineering colleagues. But do you think they are sufficient enough to cater to the technological needs of this country, or do we need more institutes?
So I think the point is we have a large number of engineering students in the country. We also have a large number of engineering institutions. What we need to do is we need to strengthen the existing institutions. So in many places there's a dearth of, we need to train the teachers, we need to provide better facilities. So yes, we need to increase engineering institutions, but more importantly, we need to be able to strengthen, so that in every engineering college that we have, wherever we are doing engineering, people get an idea, they get excited, they can work with real systems, they can work with the state of the art facility and do that. We are trying at IIT Delhi also to mentor other institutions, but I think there is much more to be done.
Sir, India is emerging to be in the global south. So how can India improve in terms of technology is concerned and be number one at the global level?
So in this, what we need to do is we need to have a good link between our academic institutions, our industry, and then and the government. This three-way link to identify problems and to create solutions and to provide leadership in technology areas. There are many such initiatives by the government in the semiconductor area, in many of the in the 5G. 5G, all the IITs got together and created a 5G indigenous technology solution. And we at IIT Delhi created the 5G test bed. We created the 5G in a box, which is portable. So there are many things where we can together come up and have a longer term vision, and then try and see that we have leadership, because it is only academia and research which will give our industry a competitive advantage. And this is important because we need to give challenges to our youth. We need to ensure that there are enough good jobs for our youth. And this means that it's a globally competitive market. As you rightly said, India is potentially a leader for the South. And then we need to also see that we have focus programs for the South. To give you an example, we at IIT Delhi are doing a master's program in renewable energy. It's an international program. We have 20 MTech students from 20 different countries, all from the South. And we are training them, they're going back to their country. And so I think there are many things we can do in this.
Sir, I'm sure you must be aware of it. So recently, National Security Advisor of India, Ajit Doval, what he did, like he went to US and with the counterpart in Washington, he had launched this what we call as critical and emerging technology. So how is it important for India, and how do you see this panning out?
So many of these critical and emerging technologies are actually going to be the disruptive technologies in the future. In this, different countries are trying to get leadership. Many times what happens is, if we pool our resources, we can do this more effectively. And India and US have decided to do that so that we can have a strategic advantage. Because there are some countries that we have, we perceive that they are putting an effort, and we would like to have that competitive advantage. So the NSAs of the two countries met, and there are in different areas there are strategic linkages, there are linkages at the business level. We have been involved with the other IITs in creating a Indo-US global research center in many of these areas, and that was part of the announcement which was made on the sidelines of the G20. And so we are going to have joint research projects, two-way research mobility, because US has been a natural partner. We already have many collaborations with US universities, some at the faculty level, some at the institutional level, but this is now at the national level. So we have a group of IIT directors working with the US university vice chancellor, their presidents, and we have now articulated this virtual Indo-US research center, which will catalyze a lot of research between the two countries. So I think this provides an opportunity. It will also give us shared resources. You have high-end facilities, researchers could use them. We can together work together and try and find solutions to global problems, also get a strategic competitive advantage.
Yes, sir. Sir, being a student of journalism and not from the science background, I have a question out of curiosity.
Sure.
If we talk about these microchips, semiconductors, like in India, how can we start the manufacturing of it on a larger scale, so that
Yes. So what has happened is, on many aspects of the semiconductor chain, we have a lot of expertise. We also have many of the semiconductor leaders globally are actually of Indian origin. But the ecosystem to manufacture and to do it in a cost-effective way needs accumulated experience, and you need to create the facility from the initial raw material to the wafer to the chip, and that needs significant investment. So the government has now put in this production-linked incentive scheme and have encouraged a number of large industries to invest in this semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem. So in the manufacture, in the design, in the packaging, in the entire chain, we would like to see that we create an industry in the semiconductor industry that is globally competitive.
And is it, sir, same if we talk about lithium battery?
It's a different thing, but there's also high tech sector. Now, lithium battery, we need to have lithium deposits. We found some lithium deposits. Then we need to look at the battery infrastructure. Some of the startups, there's a startup in Bangalore which has started. There are a couple of battery manufacturers which are going into it. So I think that is, but that's a different chain. And lithium batteries or even any new next generation batteries are areas where we have. We at IIT Delhi have done some innovation in the vanadium storage batteries, and we have both a startup, we have patents, some of it is being licensed. So I think the battery area is an interesting area, and in all of this, it depends on technology, it depends on scaling, it depends on doing this at a good performance, reduce cost. And many countries are competing in this space. China is one of them. We do not want to have the situation where we are relying on others for our battery technology. That's why the lithium battery manufacturing is important.
Sir, if we talk about India, recently the success of Chandrayaan, like the entire world has seen the successful event. So India has emerged as a leader in terms of rocket science. So how can India emerge as a prime leader, or how can it attain the prime leader position at the global level, be it in terms of technology, innovation, or other
So
things?
in many of these, it is about, we have the capability, we have the people, we have the aspiration now. Our leaders have shown us the direction of what is to be done. Now it's a question of ideas, of seeing that we use this. There are many spin-offs coming out of space, and we have also now said that apart from ISRO, there is also private sector participation, there's incubation participation. So it's a very good time for us. In many of these areas where you look at space, we look at nuclear, these are areas where initially technology was denied to us, but we were able to manage, and we have created an infrastructure. And we have to do that in many of the other areas where we have leadership, we understand what we are going to do, and we create that, and then provide the vision. We level up the capability, leading the South, looking at making an impact, linking up with our industry. So it's a very exciting time for people to do engineering.
Right before this question, like we were talking about the lithium battery technology. So when we talk about lithium or be it some other advancement, like there are challenges. How do you see the future in India, like in terms of like how to balance the technology and the climate? So how do you see
I think, Yasmeen, that's a very important question. When we look at any technology and we look at any system, finally, all of it is for an impact in society. Now we develop a technology, there is a desired output. But in addition to that, there are problems which are created, unintended impact. So, we used to we depend on things which were based on fossil fuels. Fossil fuels were creating a problem in terms of climate change. There are other things in terms of disposal. So we need to look at technology that is sustainable and that is merging with nature. India has had a history of living in harmony with nature. So when we look at developing new technologies, we need to look at the entire life cycle and impacts of that technology and to look at sustainability. We at IIT Delhi are looking at integrating sustainability into all our engineering curriculums, and we are doing a complete curriculum review. So it is important for an engineer to think about what impact that technology will have in society. If there are undesirable impacts, how do you reduce that? How do you use the materials which are more in tune with nature? How do you make it so that the technology does not have adverse effects or problems?
Sir, when I came to this institute, like I saw a lot of girls here. And when I read about IIT, like they have maintained this ratio of 50-50 gender, like you have boys and girls studying together and doing great things in technology. So if we see at women empowerment in this technological development, how do you see this overall scenario, and how do you see a lady from India and her space at a global level?
Yasmeen, what happens is that we are improving as in science and technology institutions to have a gender balance. We are not there. Today we are about 29%, women in our students. It was much lower earlier,
Okay.
right? I think by, for engineering, it is important that we are able to attract women into engineering. And only when we are able to do that, we will have a much better ability to actually become world leaders, to have leadership of thought. So we are trying a number of initiatives. We are reaching out to women students at the 11th and 12th level. We are having workshops for them. We are giving them projects so that they get a sense of research. And we are trying to change the mindset, because e- engineering is fun. Engineering is something where you can make an impact, and women are very good engineers, much better than the men in most cases when we see that. So we have some kind of, we've made progress, but I think we have to progress much more, because I think women can lead engineering, and we need to convince our young women, young girls who are studying, that why not take up engineering as a career? You can make a difference. You can look at real problems, find solutions, and do that. So I think it's very important. It's a very important point. We are trying. We are looking at improving gender equality, improving diversity, but we have a long way to go.
Yes, definitely. So, since we are talking about engineering, so from your expertise, your experiences, what message would you like to give to the students who are pursuing engineering, or who want to, and how can they hone their skills?
So the message that I would like to give you is, first identify your passion. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you like doing? Then look around you, around the world, and see so many problems around. Identify a few of the problems, see how you can take your skills and apply it to that problem. That is what engineering is about. Looking at your science, looking at things, making an application, making things easier, solving some of the problems. And look at examples of people who have been successful engineers. Think for yourself, and there's a world of opportunities out there, because there are so many problems that are looking for solutions, that are looking for people who will think and who will find the solutions. Once you do that, you will get everything, whether it is, the money, the resources, the fame. But you have to believe in yourself, understand what you want to do, and try and make a solution which makes a difference in the real world.